Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Well, I'm very excited because, of course, we're talking about our upcoming Gold Lactation Conference. And we have a really exciting presentation that we're talking about today. It is about the research. So the research parade, reviewing the latest evidence in order to apply it to your lactation practice. How many times do we talk about evidence-based work and how we want to follow the evidence, but how do we put it into practice is sometimes easier said than done. So I have my two guest speakers here today, Indira Lopez-Bassols and Gayle Subramaniam. Welcome, both of you. Thank you for joining me here today. And first of all, Indira, I know you've been with us here before, so welcome back. Gayle, welcome. It's good to have you. We've had such a good time setting up this product and getting to know each other. I think it's true of most lactation consultants that, if you're not immersed in research, sometimes it can be challenging at best to figure out some of that, research and how to put it into practice, or you can be challenged on it as well. So there's all these different things that lay in research, and we know that there's different levels of research, but sometimes people get blinded, I think, by certain types of research. So I'm excited to hear how you're going to unravel some of this for us, for sure. So Indira, why don't you kick us off by just telling us a little bit about what you do and where you are in the world?
So as a lactation consultant, I work as a lactation consultant in different sort of aspects or fields. First of all, I work as a clinician. So I work for the NHS here in the UK, and I'm in charge of a clinic for complex cases.
Mm.
That's really important, and it's all kind of fits with the research, and I'll tell you a little bit more why. But I'm also an educator, so I also teach the future generations of lactation consultants here in the UK and across the world. And last but not least, I'm doing a PhD. My PhD looks at believe it or not, breastfeeding education for healthcare providers. So it's all really linked because we need to be there out, working with dyads directly to get inspiration for what's important. What do we need to research? We can only know that if we're really working in the trenches with our dyads. So that really fits nicely. And I think the education, if you're teaching, you have to be up to scratch. You need to know what is the latest evidence. So yes, I would say that this is kind of the trio of things that I'm passionate, and I'm really excited to be soon with you and share all of our studies that we picked for this research parade.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds very exciting. Gayle, tell me a little bit about what you do in your work at the moment and where you are.
So yeah, I'm also based in the UK in London, and I'm a lactation consultant in private practice. I'm a clinician with the NHS. I work in the same team as Indira. Very fortunate. It's a fantastic team. Really enjoy that work. And I'm very proud to be part of the teaching faculty on Indira's Breastfeeding London course, and that's a part I really enjoy. I love the interaction of teaching, and the feedback from students, and the joint learning that you go on as a teacher with each of the cohorts. I also dabble in research. It's a real passion of mine, and it's kind of my life coming 360, because before I trained to be a lactation consultant, I spent a long career in research in another field. And so I feel it's bringing all of that skill set from my previous life into my lactation career. So I love writing research, reading research, editing research. Yeah, it's a real passion.
Excellent. Oh, so a little bit of backstory there on how this all came to fruition. I feel like we've got the dynamic duo talking about, all things research. I think one of the things that our participants might be interested in is just sometimes the challenge of the interpretation of these academic or even the level of how they're written, sometimes written by non-clinicians as well. I mean, we're very fortunate that you're both clinicians as well. I think there's some challenges, when you've got research as a clinician to interpret it. Will you give us the opportunity to really go through that process and help us sort of interpret or navigate some of that, Gayle?
Yeah, look, I think for a non-academic, reading these journals and papers is off-putting. It's not just daunting, it's actually off-putting. Most clinicians are far too busy to pick up, a thick journal and plow through what is often very dry academic papers. But yet we know that we need to be on top of the latest evidence base in order to best support families. So it's that dichotomy of we need to be on top of the research, but actually when you're a busy clinician, that's really difficult. Or even if you're not a clinician, but you find it difficult to access the vocabulary that's used, or how to analyze a paper, that's really difficult. Or even just the time to go through these papers. So that's one of the reasons why Indira and I, we're really keen to do this kind of presentation, because it helps boil down. That's the idea, is that we're going to try and boil down what is some of what we think to be the more interesting, clinically applicable research that's been published recently.
Fabulous. Well, I'm excited to hear that. Indira, thinking about what you said earlier about how much you do love to educate the educator, what strikes you as something that, that is passionate for you? What do you get out of this when you're teaching the educators, particularly about research? What excites you?
What excites me, Fiona, is that I am in a privileged position to actually spend time reading. I read all the journals. I mean, I won't name these now, but I read most of the journals that on breastfeeding and lactation from around the world. And, I totally agree with what Gayle has just said. There's so much that is just completely incomprehensible, and yet so important and so valuable. So the fact that we've been able to, for the past couple of years, really look at all the research and pick those studies that are applicable to most lactation consultants all around the world is really exciting, because as you said, people don't have time. People do not have the time. If you're busy in a clinic or whatever your role as a lactation consultant, you don't have time to go and look at the research. And yet it's a big dichotomy, because we're told you have to keep up to date. It is your responsibility to know the latest, research and evidence that there is in lactation. Well, how do you put these two together, right? First of all, we have a big responsibility. We don't have the time, and sometimes much of the research that's published is just not accessible for those non-academic. So it's wonderful. It's a parade. We're going to have fun. It's interactive. You're going to love it. That's all I can say.
Well, you've got me very excited. And I do love the research, but I am one of those people that doesn't have the time, and the knowledge translation isn't always easy for me either. So I'm really relying on my peers like both of you to help me sort of navigate through there. So this session is going to be just wonderful for those people that are looking, to take their level of care up, to a new level by utilizing the research that's that's out there. So this is going to be fantastic. Thank you so much to both of you for being here today. I'll look forward to being part of this interactive session and having both of you online. And of course, you will be live. It'll be recorded for those folks that perhaps are busy that day. But if you can attend live to this session, I know that you'll have an opportunity to sit down with Gayle and Indira and myself, and in that Q&A portion as well to really get those questions in. So definitely take advantage of that. Thank you again to both of you for being here. And of course, to all of our audience listening in. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye for now, everyone.
Thank you.